I have here a piece of styrofoam cut into what I call the basic three-dimensional shape. Now there are lots of shapes that we could refer to as basic shapes, but you see that this thing is cut so that it slopes from here to here. We got a slope from here to here. And I set this thing down right here. I can trace the outline of the object. I imagine my hand's sort of in the way here, but we'll get it out of there in a minute. Okay, well, that last little tracing didn't work, but we understand it would be along here. Now, I intentionally set the thing so that its corner was on the X. If I estimate the length and width of this rectangle, I'm going to estimate the length as 4 units and the width as 2.7 units, and I'm going to assume it's a perfect rectangle, so I have 4 here and 2.7 here. Now if I look at this thing very accurately, we might find that it isn't a perfect rectangle, but let's just for the moment assume that it is. Now if the origin of our coordinate system is back here, so that I have an x-axis moving off in this direction, and I'm not sure that shows, there we go, and a y-axis moving up in this direction. So I've got an x here and a y here. Then this point, of course, has coordinates, and if this is 4 units here, this distance here looks like it might be about 10 units and maybe 5 units up to this point. We're not going to worry about that for the moment, but we will shortly. Now, if I place the object here again, we see that it's highest at this corner and lowest down here at this corner. So the question is, how high is the object above this rectangle we've drawn in the plane? And I'm going to again make some rough estimates. I'm going to say that this is 5 units high and this is 4.6 units high. So I'm going to use z for the height of the object above the plane, above the xy plane. So I'm going to say that z equals 5 at this point and z equals 4.6 at this point. And I'm going to estimate that over at this point z equals 3, and at this point z, we're going to say, is about 2.5. Now that's just ballpark estimates on the shape of the object, but we understand that, for example, z equals 5 here means that if we start at this plane and move up to this point, it's 5 units. Z equals 3 means if we start here and move up here, it's 3 units, and so forth. We can see from these numbers that z is less here than it is here, so that the surface will be pointing somewhat downward in this direction, and z falls from 5 to 3 here, meaning that there's a slope in this direction. Now, just using these numbers, we can make some estimates about some of the properties of this object, and we're going to go on with that in the next clip.